Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. The products that I'm going to be reviewing for you today are their Natural Nudes palette from Too Faced and also the Too Faced Turn Up the Light palette. Really excited to get some of these on my skin. This is a cool undertones person's dream palette. If you are after a neutral palette, this is going to be right up your street. Let me just show you the palette. How stunning is that? And if you are fair-skinned like me, this is just the best palette ever because it has some really good pale tones, which a lot of palettes don't cater for people who are really fair-skinned. I am really excited. Let me show you the other product that I'm going to be reviewing today. This is the Turn Up the Light palette, and this is available in 4 different shades. So this is the light one because obviously I'm really fair, but it's also available in medium, tan and deep. Now the medium one is a little bit more of a neutral undertoned product, but the tan and the deep are a little bit more golden. So before I start swatching these, please make sure you have liked and subscribed and you've hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Really important because I am about to change over from uploading on Mondays and Thursdays to uploading Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at 8 PM London time. So please click on that notification bell so you don't miss the changeover. It's actually not going to happen until the end of April, but that's actually just around the corner, so it's very exciting. Okay, so I've just put a little bit of concealer all over my face to act as an eyeshadow primer so that I can swatch these on my face and steal the Wayne Goss technique once again. Shout at me if you will, but it's a great technique and it just shows you really up close and personal all the different tones and finishes of these shadows. It's so much better on the face, it's just not the same swatching on your hand or your arm. Anyway, let's just talk about the packaging before I go into swatches. This just does not enthrall me in the slightest. Dare I say it looks a little cheap? I just did. Anyway, it's just not my cup of tea. It's cardboard. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Anyway, the shadows in this palette, for me, need to be really good to warrant the hefty price tag, which is £35 in the UK or $45 in the US, because for me, it's just not my thing. So the shadows really need to be up here. The other palette that I'm going to talk about today, the Turn Up the Light palette, is also around about the same ballpark. It is £34 in the UK, $42 in the US. So let me just show you this palette up close and personal. It is absolutely beautiful. I think the closest that I have in my collection, because I do have a lot of neutral palettes in my collection because it's my thing, is the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette, which is similar but doesn't have as many shades that are suitable for a very fair skin. So if I've got to pick one or the other just on the shade range alone, it would be the brand new one from Too Faced. Very versatile. There are 8 mattes. There are also 8 metallic shimmers, and the metallic shimmers are smaller pans than the mattes. I always find that I go through the matte shades as transition shades and crease shades far quicker than I do the metallic shades, which I just maybe pop on the lid. So this is great that you're actually getting more of the matte shades than you are the metallic shades. We're going to go from left to right, which is my right to left. It always confuses me. I'm really sorry if I mess this up, but you know, it is early in the morning here in the Pampered Wolf household. So we're going to go straight into the shade Swan, which is a beautiful creamy shade. Directly below, we've got Glistening Snow. Look how beautiful that is. Shimmering Pearl. Stunning. Seashell. Gorgeous. Nude, which is my favourite shade in the entire palette. Sparkling Sand. Rose Gold. Petal, Warm Rose, Sparkling Rum, Golden Light, Maple, Cocoa, Sugared Chestnut, Sparkling Sable, and Truffle. So some really, really beautiful nude shades that suit every single skin tone, even fair or deep. So I'm going to take all this off and reapply my skincare, and I'll be right back to play around with this palette a little bit and see what looks we can create. Okay, so I've got concealer on my eyelids. We're gonna rock it today. I'm gonna do 2 different looks as per usual. I'm gonna use this side of the palette, which would be beautiful for any sort of bridal wedding look. And then we're gonna use this side of the palette and create a little bit more of a dramatic look. Not too dramatic, but it's going to be a little deeper in color. Okay, so I've been told I am pronouncing these brushes wrong several times. I still don't know. People have tried to explain this to me. It's just one of those weeks, it really is. I think what they say is it's not REPHR, it's REPHR, or just Ref. Anyway, these are excellent, excellent brushes. I don't care what they're called, they're absolutely amazing. I will link them in the description box below if you want to know which ones I'm using. I'm gonna go straight into the number 16 brush, which is the biggest of the fluffier type brushes. And then I'm going to double tap. So I'm gonna go Swan to Seashell and get that in. And I'm just gonna do that on the outer portion of the eye, and again just keep on layering that up. So once I've done that, I'm just going to dip into Seashell by itself. These are so buttery and smooth and super pigmented, so you need very little product on your brush. So once I've done that, I am going to dip into Nude and take a little bit of that and just go a little bit further in than we've just placed that colour, and directly in the crease, not above the crease, and right on the outer edge, just to deepen that up a little bit. It's such a nice shade, this one. This is my favourite one in the entire palette. It's just so beautiful and would work on anybody as a transition shade. Absolutely gorgeous. Then I'm going to go into Shimmering Pearl. So beautiful. Really beautiful. And I'm just going to pop that on with a finger. By the way, when I took the swatches off earlier on, they came off really easily. There isn't any seriously chunky particles of glitter in here, so it doesn't linger on the face after you've washed it, unlike the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette, which tends to stay around for quite a while. Really lovely. Once that's laid down, I'm just going to take that same brush and just make sure that everything's blended and connected really beautifully. And then I'm going to take the palest shimmering shade, which is Glistening Snow, on my very little finger. I don't know why I'm calling it my very little finger. It's just my little finger. It's a universal name, little finger. It's not a very little finger, is it? And I'm just going to pop that right in the corner. Okay, so I'm going to leave that eye as it is. I will finish the lower lash line of both eyes once I've completed the rest of my makeup, and then we're going to have a play around with the lower lash line and also the Too Faced Turn Up the Light palette as well. So I'm going to go onto this eye. Using the same brush that I've just cleaned off on a tissue, I'm going to go into the shade Nude, which is the same colour that we deepened up this eye with. Just going to use this as my transition shade on this eye, as this is a deeper look, and this is my favourite shade. Have I mentioned that already? My favourite shade. It's called Nude, absolutely glorious. So you can actually get this shade to go quite deep. So you can create quite a dramatic look with this shade alone if you've got a fair complexion like me. Okay, so then we're going to deepen that up a little bit, go into this half of the palette. I'm going to go into Maple. Again, very pigmented, so you need very, very little. And I'm just going to place that directly in the crease and just to the outer corner and blend that in. By the way, so many people ask me why I do my eyeshadow before I do the rest of my face. It is simply because if you've done the rest of your face and you get lots of fallout with your makeup, it's very difficult to clean up, whereas it's really easy to clean up when you've got nothing else on your face. And also, you can tidy up lines and be a little messier when you're applying it when you've got other products to apply straight afterwards. So I will tidy up and clean up the outer line with a little bit of concealer. I just find it easier to do it this way. Also, if you really mess up and you've got to take the whole thing off, it's not like you're ruining the rest of your makeup and you've wasted loads of time. And then I'm just going to deepen up the outer just by using Truffle, which is the darkest matte shade. And I'm using exactly the same brush. I've used the same brush throughout this entire thing. This is the 16 brush. I'm not pronouncing the name because I'm going to do it wrong. And I'm just popping that on the outer V, and I'm literally just patting that in. And then going to clean off the brush on a tissue. And then go in a little bit deeper, just blending that in place so there's no harsh lines whatsoever. I'm going to go into this golden light shade here, which is just to die for. And I'm going to pop that right in the center. Look how va-va-va-voom sparkly that is without being glittery. It's a really beautiful metallic shimmer. Not a speck of glitter in sight. So once I've laid that down, again, I'm going to take my brush and just blend that in beautifully to make sure it's all really nicely connected. And then I'm going to take a pencil brush and go into that shade again because my fat fingers will not get all the way down to the corner of the eye without getting all messy and getting it halfway up my nose. Gorgeous look. I'm going to go and do the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to do the lower lash line before we have a play with the Turn Up the Light palette, and then I can apply bronzer and blush and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to take the REPHR, covering all bases, number 13 brush. And we're going to go and do this side first. I'm just going to dip into the shade Seashell and run that primarily at the edge and then swoop it across. I am then going to take a pencil brush, the number 3, and I'm going to actually go into Glistening Snow, and I'm just going to put that in the inner corner as a little bit of a highlight. And then just going to dip into Shimmering Pearl, take a little bit of that on a brush. These do apply better with a finger. And I'm just going to pop that on the lower lash line as well. Absolutely stunning. I absolutely love this look. It's really subtle, it's very natural while still having that hint of sparkle and that definition of the eye. Just really, really pretty. You can add a lick of mascara to the lower lashes at this point if you want to, but I'm going to move on to this eye. So let's do the lower lash line on this one. Again, I'm going to take the number 13 brush and I'm going to go into Maple. I'm just going to take that to connect the dots all the way from one side, and I'm just going to go halfway across the eye. Really, really beautiful. Clean off that brush onto a tissue and then swipe that across the rest of the eye. I'm not going to put any shimmer on the bottom of this eye, although you could do. This would look absolutely beautiful. In fact, let's do that. You could leave it like this if you wanted to, or you could add a bit more sparkle. So I'm just going to add this to the center. Again, doesn't apply as well with a brush as it does with your fingers, but I'd get this absolutely everywhere if I was to apply this with my fingers. And there we go. Absolutely beautiful. Loved using this. You will see me use this lots on my channel because these are really my thing. I absolutely love a beautiful nude palette. Just really good quality, and I can forgive the packaging now. I've actually used the shadows. Really, really beautiful. Now let's have a play around with the Turn Up the Light palette. So you've got 3 different powders in here. The biggest one in the middle is the Soft Focus powder. This is going to give you more of a candlelit glow effect to the skin. It's going to be slightly more airbrushing, and this is the mattest of all of the powders in this palette. Still does give you that beautiful sheen on the surface of the skin though. Then there's the Glow shade, which is going to give you more luminosity and radiance to the skin, very similar to the Ambient lighting palette from Hourglass. And then you've got the Dazzle shade, which is going to give you a bit of sparkle and a bit of highlight. So 3 different palettes. The biggest one is the Soft Focus one, because I guess this is the one that is going to be mostly used. And I'm going to do this on this side of my face just so that you can see the effect that this has on the skin. This is actually, like I said, the most mattifying of all of the powders, but it still does give you that really beautiful natural glow to the skin. Really beautiful, quite airbrushing actually, and I really enjoy using this one. Now, the Glow one I'm going to use on this side of my face, I've said is quite similar to the Ambient lighting palette from Hourglass. This one for me is slightly less luxurious than the Ambient lighting powders, and the reason I say that is this for me is quite a muted highlighter. I don't particularly like this one all over my face, although it is really, really beautiful. It's not as subtle as the Ambient lighting powders. It does give you a little bit of sparkle in here, so I would tend to use this as a highlighter rather than as an all-over finishing powder, but I will show you what I mean. So let's just dab this over the skin. It's gorgeous all the same. Absolutely stunning, and it does give the skin that little bit of life. As you can see on this side of my face, the skin is looking much more glowy, much more radiant than on this side of my skin that I've used the Soft Focus. So really beautiful, beautiful palette. Love it. Okay, so I know I said that I'd probably use this as a highlighter, but this is so, so pretty on the skin. It really does give the skin that extra luminosity and radiance, and it definitely does what it says it's going to do without looking overly sparkly on the skin, which I really, really like. I really like that. In fact, I think on camera I prefer this side to this side, which is the Soft Focus. Let's just go into the Dazzle, which is quite, to the touch, a gritty product because of all of the sparkle in here. This is just sparkle central. I'm just going to apply this to the tops of my cheeks. Now, this is beautiful, but if you do not like sparkly, glittery highlighters, this is not going to be for you. It's not massively punchy, this. It is quite a natural highlighter, but it does have sparkle in there. And I would probably use a dampened finger to apply the Glow powder as a highlight rather than using the Dazzle. That just looks really, really pretty on the top of my cheekbone and really, really subtle, which is more my thing. Really liking that. Now let me just apply a little bit of bronzer and blush and I'll be right back for my final thoughts. Okay, so I absolutely love both of these palettes, but my favorite is obviously the Natural Nudes palette. This is in my comfort zone. I really do love a nudes palette, but this one especially is so, so beautiful, and I just feel like I'm going to get so much wear and use out of this palette and create so many different beautiful looks. This is beginner friendly, but also if you're not a beginner and you want something a little punchier, you can definitely do the looks that are really subtle and also really va-va-va-voom out of this palette. Super, super versatile palette, really easy to blend, buttery shadows, absolutely gorgeous. And I've really enjoyed using it. It also does not have a scent to the powders, which I really like. Some of the Too Faced powders, especially the Peach collection, has that horrible sickly scent to it. Some people like it. I really don't like scents in my products, so it just makes me feel a little bit ill, if I'm being completely honest. So I steer clear of those, but this one doesn't have a scent to it. It's really, really beautiful, and I've loved using it today. The Too Faced Turn Up the Light palette also have really enjoyed using this, and I will continue to use this. I'm not a huge fan of the Dazzle shade. It's not as punchy as some highlighters, but it's definitely sparkly, and it's the sparkle that I don't particularly get on with, but again, it's just personal preference. The sparkle also does creep down the face as the day goes on, so you will need a setting spray if you're going to use the Dazzle. I absolutely love the Soft Focus and the Glow powders though. The Glow powder is beautiful all over the face just to give it that little bit more life, and also the Soft Focus is quite airbrushing while still giving the skin that little bit of extra something just to liven it up a little bit. Really, really nice. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Let me just show you these eye looks individually so you can actually concentrate on one or the other rather than it being a little bit too Clockwork Orange. Let me show you the more natural side. It is natural, it is really pretty, and yet it does define the eye and give a little bit of an eye lift as well. Really, really stunning product, and if you have pale skin like me, this does have pale shades for you to work with. It will also really open the eye up if you have a deeper skin and you put any of these shades on the lid. It will really give you that dramatic eye-opening look. Really, really pretty. Love that side. Very bridal. And then on this side, we've used some of the deeper shades in the palette. Just really, really pretty. The shimmer shades in here are absolutely gorgeous, as are the mattes. I love this palette. I'll be using it a lot. That's all I can say. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.